The Department of State is pleased to be able to dedicate approximately $15 million in Environmental Protection Fund Local Waterfront Revitalization Program resources to advance community and waterfront revitalization, with up to $2 million for updating existing local waterfront revitalization programs to mitigate future physical climate risks. This presentation will provide an overview of the program, eligibility requirements, description of the grant categories, and potential eligible projects, and information on the application evaluation criteria. For more detailed information, please refer to the full Request for Applications, or the RFA, at the Department of State's website at www.dos.ny.gov/funding. New York State's approach to managing waterfront areas recognizes that while state government can promote development and provide protection for critical resources and environments, municipalities are in the best position to determine their own waterfront objectives and to adapt statewide approaches to specific local needs. Accordingly, the Department of State, pursuant to the State Waterfront Revitalization and Coastal Resources Act, has encouraged waterfront communities to prepare local waterfront revitalization programs, also referred to as LWRPs. The LWRP offers local governments the opportunity to participate in the state's coastal management program on a voluntary basis. Localities are encouraged to prepare and adopt LWRPs, which, in turn, refine and implement the state's coastal program. The Local Waterfront Revitalization Program provides matching grants on a competitive basis to villages, towns, and cities, and counties acting on behalf of one or more villages, towns, or cities located along New York's coasts or designated inland waterways to foster community and waterfront revitalization. Applications submitted by a county are required to submit a letter or resolution from each eligible municipality participating in the project, which demonstrates their consent and support for the application. Eligible applicants may apply for matching grants to conduct general planning, project-specific planning, feasibility, design, or marketing studies, or for construction of projects needed to advance activities described in the Department's 2019 RFA and summarized on the next several slides. The current list of coastal water bodies and designated inland waterways can be viewed at the Department's website shown here. Funding is available for the grant categories listed on this slide. Funds may be used for planning, design, and construction related to these grant categories, with implementation funds tied to status of a community's LWRP. For general planning needed to advance any of the eligible activities, an applicant must be a village, town, city, or county with a consent and on behalf of one or more villages, towns, or cities located along New York's coasts or a designated inland waterway. For project-specific planning, feasibility, design, and/or marketing needed to advance eligible activities, an applicant must be preparing an LWRP or an LWRP component or have a previously approved LWRP or LWRP component. The proposed project must be located within the LWRP or LWRP component boundary. For construction of projects needed to advance eligible activities, an applicant must have an approved or substantially completed LWRP or relevant LWRP component, or be a county with a consent and acting on behalf of one or more eligible communities with an approved or substantially completed LWRP or relevant LWRP component. The proposed project must be located within the LWRP or the LWRP component boundary. Applications should only include one project per application. However, multiple implementation projects can be included in one application if the projects are similar in type or scope and clearly address a common critical issue. Remember, applicants may submit more than one grant application. An LWRP is a comprehensive land and water use plan that expresses a vision for a community's waterfront area, refines state coastal policy to reflect local or regional needs, and outlines the organizational structure, local laws, and projects necessary to implement the plan. By preparing an LWRP, community stakeholders have the opportunity to evaluate local waterfront resources, develop goals, and a comprehensive strategy for the best use of those resources. propose future projects, and adopt a local program that will guide appropriate development. Communities with an approved LWRP are encouraged to regularly update their LWRP to reflect changes in local conditions and community goals. An LWRP update can include a revision of all LWRP sections, focus on a specific section or issue, amend the LWRP boundary, reflect changes in land use, or identify new project proposals. While we encourage communities to complete a full LWRP, inclusive of all consideration of all enforceable state coastal policies and local waterfront geographical areas, for some communities it may not be appropriate to advance toward a complete LWRP in stages to address the most time-sensitive and geographically significant priorities and policies. An LWRP component focuses on one or more topics or sections of an LWRP or its waterfront, provided that the program constitutes a discrete and cohesive, yet comprehensive treatment of the subject or subjects addressed, which may be related to environmental, social, regional growth management, or economic conditions. An LWRP component may focus on one or more state coastal policies that are relevant to the particular conditions and priorities in the municipality, address a significant geographic portion of the municipality's waterfront, or both. A watershed management plan is a type of LWRP component that produces a comprehensive plan to protect and restore specific water bodies and their watersheds by identifying and prioritizing land uses and capital projects to reduce point and non-point source pollution and protect or restore water quality, tributary corridors, and aquatic habitats. The preparation of cooperative intermunicipal plans for a specific watershed can be an effective way to achieve local, regional, and statewide goals. These plans can form the basis for the LWRP inventory and local policies dealing with water quality and water resources. Applicants with an adopted and approved or partially completed LWRP may apply for grant funding to update their LWRP to mitigate future physical climate risks. As part of updating an existing LWRP, an eligible community may consider planning activities to assess risks associated with coastal or riverine flooding and erosion, including impacts to wetlands, habitats, and other natural resources, or to assess risks to critical infrastructure. Then a community can develop tools to protect land and water uses and make them more resilient to future climate risks. Applicants with approved or substantially complete LWRPs or LWRP components may apply for implementation funding to undertake project-specific planning, design, or construction of projects necessary to implement an improved LWRP or substantially completed component of an LWRP under preparation. Here are just a few examples of waterfront revitalization implementation projects funded through LWRP. Top 10 paddling destinations brochure and map, waterfront park enhancements in the city of Geneva, kayak launch and wayfinding signage in the city of North Tonawanda, waterfront multi-use trails, improvements to the Port of Rochester Marina, Harlem River Park living shoreline, and then branding with custom street pole banners that highlight the City of Jamestown's attractions. This slide identifies eligible and ineligible project costs. Grant funds may be used to cover the personal services, non-personal services, and grant administration activities listed here and explained further in the full RFA on our website. Ineligible costs include indirect or overhead costs, federal and other Environmental Protection Fund awards, and costs incurred prior to a contract start date, among others listed here. Costs not adequately justified or that do not directly support the project are also ineligible costs. The EPS LWRP grant program is a reimbursement program. Reimbursement payments will be made only upon proper documentation of costs and compliance with reimbursement procedures and contractual requirements. State assistance awarded and paid shall not exceed 75% of the total eligible project costs set forth in the application and as approved by the department, except where the proposed project is located in an environmental justice community, in which case state assistance awarded and paid shall not exceed 85% of the total eligible project costs set forth in the application and as approved by the department. Applicants must clearly indicate that they are seeking state funding equal to 85% of the total project cost. This should be clearly indicated in the project funding and program budget section in the in the CFA, and also in the LWRP budget summary and detailed spreadsheet submitted as a CFA attachment. Applicants must identify the amount, type, and source of eligible local match and demonstrate that it has been secured. Failure to do so will result in a reduced award amount for qualifying applications. This slide shows how to determine the amount of funding to be requested from the state. The total eligible cost of the project is the total of all costs set forth in the grant application, less any federal assistance and other state assistance from the Environmental Protection Fund. Environmental Protection Fund grants provided under this program may not be used as the local match for any federal grants without explicit written permission from the department. Local match must be outlined in the application for consideration. State funds requested is equal to the total eligible project cost multiplied by the local match, 75% for most projects or 85% for projects located in areas that meet the environmental justice criteria. Local match is equal to the total project cost minus the state funds requested. In filling out your consolidated funding application, be sure to fully answer all questions. These questions correspond to the program evaluation criteria found in the request for applications and the Regional Economic Development Council endorsement and summarized on this slide. Out of a possible 100 points, the Department of State is responsible for awarding up to 80 points. The Regional Economic Development Councils are responsible for awarding up to 20 points, depending on the degree to which the proposed project advances the REDC strategic plan. Applicants want to be sure that answers to application questions are clear and complete. The RFA is available at the Department of State's website shown on this slide. It is recommended that all applicants read the RFA thoroughly for more details on how to write a strong application. Written questions on the LWRP Grant Program RFA will be accepted until June 28th. Questions can be submitted by email or to the address shown on this slide. When corresponding by email, clearly indicate the subject as 19-LWRP-11 RFA questions. To the degree possible, each inquiry should cite the RFA section and paragraph to which it refers. Questions received by the due date will be posted with answers on the Department's website at www.dos.ny.gov/funding. Responses to questions received by May 31st will be posted by June 14th, and responses to questions received by June 28th will be posted by July 12th. Final applications are due by 4 p.m. Friday, July 26th. Good luck.